This is the story of how you became a member of the Italian Mafia. You've been brought in to meet the boss. The room is dimly lit, the air thick with cigar smoke. The only source of light comes from the single bare bulb hanging from the ceiling, casting long shadows that dance menacingly on the walls. Behind you, the door slowly closes, sealing your fate. This is it. There's no turning back now. You feel a tap on your shoulder and turn to see an imposing figure standing there. His face is etched with hard lines, his eyes like chips of ice. It's the consigliere, the Mafia's advisor. He's the one who will be sizing you up, deciding whether or not you're worthy of joining their ranks. In front of you sits the boss, the head of the family, the Don. Despite his advanced age, he exudes an air of power and authority that commands respect and fear in equal measure. The third member of this trio is Bruno, the enforcer. He's the muscle of the operation, the one who makes sure that people don't forget who they're dealing with. They have 3 questions for you, questions that will test your resolve, your loyalty, and your morals. Can you answer them correctly and earn their respect? Or will you crumble under the pressure, betraying everything you once stood for and losing everything you hold dear? Question 1. They say the ends justify the means. Do you agree? Now the Don leans forward, his gaze boring into yours. Tell me, he rasps, his voice like gravel grinding on bone, do you believe the ends justify the means? For a moment, the only sound is the ticking of the clock on the mantelpiece, each second stretching into an eternity. You know what they want to hear? In this world of shadows, morality is a luxury, a weakness to be exploited, not a virtue to be upheld. But your life has been different. You've always believed in doing the right thing, even if it came at a cost. How can you betray that part of yourself? If you choose yes, the ends justify the means. The Don nods slowly, a ghost of a smile touching his lips. A pragmatic view, he says, one that aligns with our way of life. The counsel here, he murmurs, turning his gaze to the enforcer, who remains impassive. Bruno, however, doesn't share the counsel's apparent satisfaction. He lets out a low growl, his eyes never leaving you. If you choose no, the ends don't justify the means. The Don's smile widens, but it doesn't reach his eyes. Interesting, he says softly. And what makes you think that you're right and we are wrong? Your life flashes before your eyes. Memories of a different world, of a different you. You struggle to articulate your beliefs, but words fail you. How do you explain morality to men who've built their empire on its absence? Question 2. Who would you protect, family or strangers? You're standing in the middle of a bustling marketplace, when suddenly a group of men armed with knives and clubs burst through the crowd. They're the enemy, sent by a rival family to start a fight. You see one of them pull out a knife, ready to strike down an innocent bystander. What do? If you choose to protect the strangers, the Don shakes his head slowly. You lack sense, he says, disappointment evident in his voice. What? In this life, you must protect those who are yours. To prioritize outsiders over family is a betrayal, one we cannot abide. Bruno lets out a low growl, his eyes narrowing to slits. The consigliere, however, seems contemplative, stroking his neatly trimmed beard. There may be value in such a one, he muses. A man who stands by principles even when it costs him dearly. But Bruno cuts him off with a snarl. Principles are for saints and scholars, not for us. If you choose to protect your family, the Don nods approvingly. That is the way of the family, of the blood, he says, his voice echoing with pride. Loyalty to one's own is the cornerstone of our existence. Bruno beams, his face splitting into a wide grin. Exactly, he roars, slapping you on the back hard enough to make you wince. What? You got that right? The consigliere remains silent, his gaze unreadable. Question 3. Would you kill for the family? Your new family is under attack. The rival family has traced you to your home, intent on sending a message. You watch in horror as they set fire to your house, the flames licking hungrily at the night sky. Inside, your loved ones are trapped. Without hesitation, you charge towards the burning building, adrenaline pumping through your veins. You kick open the door and are met with a scene of chaos. Your family members are running for the hills, terror etched on their faces. What do? If you choose to kill for the family, the Don smiles, a slow and predatory curl of his lips. Brave, he says softly. Very brave. But remember, true strength lies not in blind rage, but in calculated action. Killing without purpose is a waste, a stain on the family's honor. Bruno nods vigorously, his eyes gleaming with admiration. Speak for yourself, he growls. I like my men to be passionate, to be willing to get their hands dirty. That's what it takes to survive in this game. The consigliere remains silent, his gaze fixed on some distant point beyond the flames. If you choose not to kill for the family, the Don's smile disappears, replaced by a thunderous frown. So you would stand by and watch as our family is destroyed, he growls, his voice barely a whisper, yet charged with lethal power. You would rather die than sully your hands with blood. Bruno lets out a low whistle, disappointment evident in his tone. Well, that's a first, he mutters, shaking his head. Never met a man who turned down the chance to spill some blood. Consigliere turns to you, his eyes sharp as shards of glass. You may think you're strong now, he says, his voice like a caress and a threat, but in this world you either adapt or you die, and in this family there is no place for the weak. Now the fate of your soul hangs in the balance. The three men before you are the embodiment of the Mafia's philosophy. The Don, a master strategist, Bruno, brutal efficiency, and the consigliere, cunning and pragmatism. Their judgment is harsh, their expectations impossibly high. And yet, somehow you've made it this far. The question is, can you live with their decision? Will you be accepted into their inner circle, or rejected as unfit? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain, this is just the beginning. If you stay with us till the end, we'll reveal your ultimate fate. So did you answer all 3 questions correctly? Let's tally up the score. 3 points for every correct answer. If you've scored 9 points, the Don looks at you for a long moment, his gaze boring into yours. Finally, he nods slowly. You have our permission to join the family, he says, his voice echoing with finality. Welcome to the Mafia. Congratulations. You've earned your stripes. You've proven yourself worthy. If you've scored 6 or 7 points, the Don's expression is unreadable. You show potential, he says, but potential is nothing without cultivation. We will keep you in our sights. Prove yourself further, and we will consider granting you full membership. Bruno slaps you on the back, his grip like a vice. Don't disappoint us, he growls, a hint of menace in his voice. If you've scored 3 or 4 points, the Don shakes his head sadly. You lack what it takes to survive in this world, he says, his voice heavy with disappointment. We cannot allow you to stay any longer. Leave now and do not look back. With that, he dismisses you. Bruno lets out a low whistle, a hint of amusement in his tone. Looks like someone's decided to walk so far away, he growls, watching you go. The consigliere remains impassive, his gaze fixed on some distant point beyond the flames. If you scored 0 points, well, let's just say you won't be making another mistake like that anytime soon. You've learned a valuable lesson today, one that will stay with you for the rest of your life. Sometimes it's better to lose a game than to win one you can't afford to play. You've walked away from the Mafia, and maybe that's for the best. But as you look back at the shadowy figure standing at the door, you can't shake off the feeling that you've left a part of yourself behind. A part that will forever yearn for the thrill of the game,